Our weekly interview with Eric Melillo, the Kenora MP, was interrupted when his internet crashed. It's James with Net News Ledger. Joining us from the amazing place called Kenora is Eric Melillo, the MP for the riding, for our weekly talk on political issues. Good morning, Eric.
Good morning.
So other than the fact that there's a great big rock fell on the road in Kenora, what's new?
Yeah, well, that rock is certainly interesting. James, I wasn't aware of it actually until you reached out to my staff, and they made me aware of the story. And I got to tell you, it was quite the shock. But what else is new is a good question. And I've enjoyed being in the riding this week, and really just getting around and meeting with constituents again, and having meetings with local mayors and as well. And I was up in Red Lake speaking with Fred Mota, the mayor there, and one of the things that consistently came up and consistently comes up time and time again, as you know, James, is the issue of internet, and that's something that we've been talking
Yes,
a lot about, and hoping to get some more information on some of the projects that have been announced by this government, and where the funding has been going, so that we can ensure that there is some transparency, and that we're doing everything we can to make sure that every Canadian has access to a reliable and affordable high-speed internet connection. Because as we've said many times before, it's no longer just a luxury. It is a necessity, and the pandemic has shown us that.
we're seeing, and I keep hearing this from many people, the pandemic has shown us the areas that are the weakest in our systems, and it's magnified them. And so to get these things starting to be solved is very, very positive, and it's going to take a lot of push.
Absolutely, there's a lot of work to do, but you make a good point. I mean, it's not just internet. We're looking at strains on our healthcare system as well, especially in northwestern Ontario, where we have a lot of challenges, and frankly a lot of areas that are underserviced. I think that that's also being reflected or exacerbated, whatever word you want to use, during COVID-19, and it's showing us where those issues are and where those gaps are. So there's certainly a lot of work to do, whether it's internet, whether it's healthcare, whether it's support for seniors who have been largely neglected from a lot of government support throughout the course of COVID-19. This pandemic, if there's anything to take from it, I think it's shown us where the gaps have existed, not just in the past year, but for the past number of years, the past decade.
Yes. I just finished an interview and posted it this morning, but I interviewed John Stepovich with Pacific Western Transportation out of Alberta, and they're part of a group that's looking at the problems with rural intercommunity bus transportation, and bus companies are coming together to form a coalition to be talking to government to try and reach out and find solutions to make sure that people can get around. Because sometimes I think in the bigger centers, we all think, jump on a plane and fly wherever I want to go. But
Right.
for a lot of rural people, that's just not an option.
Yeah, absolutely, and I mean, especially in regions like ours in northern and western Ontario, where we have a lot of people that have to travel for healthcare, for essential reasons, and they don't always have the means to do so themselves. So I think building on the transportation structure that we have and bolstering it is certainly something we have to be looking at. I know that there's been a number of conversations I've had, as of many other MPs, on this very same issue, because you're entirely right, James. It's the lack of transportation, especially in rural, remote, and I'll say northern regions as well, is maybe another item we could add to the list of.
We just lost Eric Melillo on the internet connection, which ironically probably proves the point that the Kenora MP has been making about internet across Western and Northern Ontario. This is James with Net News Ledger, and we'll have Eric back next week, hopefully with a better internet connection. To keep up to date, you have to subscribe. You have to hit that like button and hit the notification to stay in touch.